Hi, this is Alexxis Steele from Music 101. Stay tuned to hear what's happening from your favorite national recording artists and get my answers to your music industry questions.
Steel Notes Magazine is your source for what's happening on the local, national, and international scene with news, reviews, and interviews. Get more notes per measure at Steel Notes Magazine.
You're listening to Music 101 with your host, Alexxis Steele. Sponsored by Steel Notes Magazine. You can find them at the web, folks, at www.steelnotesmagazine.com.
Hi, welcome everyone to Music 101 with Alexxis Steele. It gives me great pleasure tonight to bring to you the legendary drummer and rock and roll Hall of Famer, Neal Smith. How you doing, Neal?
I'm doing great, Alexxis. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. It's been a while.
It's been a while. You're looking great in that beautiful hat of yours, too.
Thank you. Thank you. You look great, too. Your hair got a lot longer since the last time we were together.
It's that's what I was doing during the pandemic, just growing my hair. That was about it. And writing songs and recording music, of course.
Right. And yeah, that's the thing, because it was pre-COVID was the last time that I saw you. So what have you been up to since the last time I saw you?
Well, a lot of traveling, spend time in Arizona, and where I get together with Michael Bruce and Alice out there. Get together, we work on music, we play golf, go out to dinner, have a great time socializing. And and I also go to Finland during the summertime. So I've been doing that. Of course, 2019, I didn't go because of COVID. And again, in 2021, I didn't go over there because of COVID was still pretty bad. So this summer, 2023, I was over there for about a month and a half, and I love it. I want to go over there, and it's just a whole different world, and it's great to get away. And as a matter of fact, not the Killsmith Goes West, but my next album after that, I wrote the last two songs in Finland while I was over there. So it's a very inspirational place for me, and I love it. So between traveling, music, and, just trying to enjoy life and stay healthy is a big job.
Oh, absolutely. So are you still out in Connecticut?
Yeah, my main home is in Connecticut, here in Fairfield County, where I am over half the year. So I still spend an awful lot of time here, but by the time it gets cold, I want to head out to Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were the rock and realtor for a long time, but you're not doing that anymore?
No, I hung up retired my license maybe about 5 years ago. And it was just time to do it. It was when I bought a house in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, went out there for the winters. So by the time I'm spending less time here and then going over to Finland, half the year I'm pretty much gone. So it didn't make any sense. It was just time to do it, change my life. And I really wanted to get back into the music. And not only have I been doing the Killsmith music and do some recording with friends once in a while, but also, of course, with Alice and Dennis and Michael, we've done a few songs on his last 3 solo albums. So we keep working together as a group, as always, since the Hall of Fame in 2010, 2011, when we did the first songs on Welcome to My Nightmare. So that keeps us busy, keeps our chops together, and Roy's writing and creating. And of course, it's always great. I mean, we're like family when we're together, and it's kind of what it's all about.
So when you go out to Arizona, isn't Glenn's sister Janice still out there?
Yeah, she's out. Well, a lot of our friends are out there. I mean, we lived there for a long time. I mean, of course, Dennis and Alice and Glenn and Michael. I mean, Michael was born there, and the other guys were there at a very early age. I was the last one to move into the Phoenix area in 1963, but everybody was already there. They established family and friends, and so my family's basically pretty much gone now, except for my great sister Cindy Smith Dunaway, Dennis's wife, and but other than her, and I still have a lot of cousins I'm very close to, but basically it's my friends that I hang out with in Arizona and work with and write with and have a great time with.
Mhm. Speaking of Glenn, his birthday's coming up in November, right?
Yeah, I forget which day it was. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he.
I forget too exactly. I know it was on the cover of our magazine
Yep.
when I did that feature on him. And one thing that I didn't know is you have his guitar. You had it restored from originally when he was playing it when you guys were in as the Alice Cooper group, right?
Yeah, that's the guitar he had on the back of the Love It to Death album cover, and
Yeah.
and about it was about 2015, 2016, around that time period. There was somebody that had some that was from the Greenwich, Connecticut area where we lived in our home, had some quote unquote Glenn Buxton artifacts and wanted to get together and see if there was anything I was interested in. And I said, well, I'll tell you whether they're freaking artifacts or not. If because I mean, I know everything that was in that house when we lived there. And to my surprise, the last thing that they showed, there were a lot of things, some artwork, because we were all art majors in the college together. That's where I became friends with them. And so Glenn was an artist in his own right, as well as Dennis and Alice and I and Michael. So I noticed a lot of his artwork. There were some items that were from the Galicia estate, our home in Greenwich. And the last thing he showed me, he brings out, was the body of Glenn's custom SG, the blonde guitar that he had on the back of Love to Death.
Nice.
And he played through Love to Death, Killer and Schools Out. And so I ended up buying it from him. And all it was, no neck, just the body of the guitar.
Really?
It was all stripped down. There wasn't any hardware, metal knobs. It was just plain wood.
Wow.
And I was told that basically it was firewood. And I said, well, I think I could probably find the right people. Rick Tedesco, the great guitar player that I work with on my Killsmith projects the last couple of years, he has a guitar shop in Connecticut called the Guitar Hanger. And through his connections all around the country, we found somebody in California to rebuild the guitar from the ground up. First of all, he had to put a neck on the guitar. We got Gretsch involved with it, and they got us some hardware from the era that was made to look like original hardware, and of course dated. It was almost 50 years old, so they dated that. They made it look older, antiqued it, and put it together. And he didn't want to give it back to me. He said this is one of the most amazing guitars he's ever played in his life. Wow. And when he put it together, and so we use it on some recordings, and hopefully we use it on some more in the future too. It's amazing.
That'd be great. Yeah. And that's like paying homage to Glenn,
Yeah, I call it GB's ghost.
I'm sure he's smiling down on you.
Oh yeah. Well, Glenn and I were like brothers. We're both from Akron, Ohio. So
yeah.
We had a special bond real early on as friends before we were ever, before I ever was in the band.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you always played guitar? I mean, back, from the beginning of the early.
You look at the songs on "Love It to Death" and "Hallowed Be My Name" was a song that I wrote, and I tell everybody I've always had a set of drums since I was about 11 years old, and I've always had an acoustic guitar as well. And I never really knew how to play it, but of course with Glenn Buxton and Michael Bruce through the band, I bought some guitars. I've had guitar, and I've got about a dozen guitars, and including Glenn's and some a Flying V and a original Stratocaster from the late 60s and early 70s. So it's quite a nice guitar collection I have, and I use them and play them on all the Killsmith albums. Play like 90% of the rhythm tracks. I'm on those. Rick Tedesco reinforces them as well. But so long answer to a short question. Yes, I play guitar and keyboard. I mean, that's how I'm able to write songs. It's very hard to write a song playing the drums. Not impossible, but it's much better to have an instrument.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's great. So, I mean, do you, have you done like any performing anywhere? Like playing guitar or drums? I mean, are you still playing drums?
with technology, you can play a song all the way through, and then you can fix it. But I'm not, I'm not a guitar player. I'm a songwriter, and I can write verses, I can write choruses. Then when it comes to putting them all together, with technology today, you play a part, you can put a song together. But I would never attempt it on stage. If I ever did anything on stage, I would just sing, maybe play a little bit, but that's not what the reason I do it. The reason I do it is because I love to write songs. I love to take something out of thin air and make it. Make it something that nobody's ever heard before. And with Killsmith Goes West, I found a little bit different direction, going in a sort of a Western kind of a theme. We call it outlaw rock. And it's the same thing. I just, you have an idea, and with the keyboard or the guitar, most of the songs on Goes West was written from guitar. And, you just come up with it, and it's a great vehicle. And the ultimate vehicle for writing songs is piano. I mean, that's the perfect instrument. But rock and roll guitars can work as well too.
Oh, absolutely. So now this is the fourth in the Killsmith series.
Right. Yeah, it was Sexual Savior, Killsmith 2, Killsmith and the Green Fire Empire. This is Killsmith Goes West. Yes.
Right. Now, prior to the Killsmiths, you had some other ones too. Like your first one was Platinum God, right?
Yeah, that I really consider that a Neal Smith solo album.
Yeah.
And also, and a couple of years ago, I released a group of songs that I wrote between 85 and 95, and I called it Pop 85, 95. They were more pop songs than rock songs or anything I had done in the past. I would like to kind of fool around with different genres of music.
That's what I was going to ask you. You like to fool around with different genres.
Yeah, it's just I'm inspired in different ways, and it was like I wrote totally like I did with Alice Cooper, very hard rock, until I heard Rammstein from Europe, and that's when I decided to try something real heavy like Killsmith, the first 2-3 Killsmith albums. So if I hear an idea, a style of music, and I get inspired by it, that can create a whole new album for me. And going back to when I was a kid, 10 years old, early teens in Ohio, in the Midwest, used to go out to live music and dance halls in central Ohio, northern Ohio. And this place called Fixer's Ballroom, they had a great country band. They had the old rinky-tink piano. The piano player, his name was, I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, Clarence. His name was Clarence, and he was blind. And they had a fiddle player, upright bass, and they could play rock, they could play country, they could play all sorts of music. And they were a great band. And they played Orange Blossom Special. And in those days, I don't dance anymore, and I haven't for many years. I always say drummers don't dance. We make the beat, but we don't dance. But too cool to dance. So, but I would get on the dance floor, clear the dance floor, doing the mashed potatoes to the Orange Blossom Special as it got faster and faster and faster and faster. And I was the only one that could keep up with the band. So I was having fun with it, enjoying it, enjoying the different aspect of music. And as I was writing, actually the album, it's actually the next Killsmith, the fifth Killsmith album I'm working on right now. I actually started that around 2015, and these songs sort of bled into it. And I went, wait, this is a whole different album. So Goes West was formed while I was writing the one I'm just finishing up right now.
Oh, wow. So
I pulled 10 songs off of that and added some more to the one I'm presently working on, and it's called Hard in a Rock Place. And it's back to 110% rock and roll, heavy rock and roll stuff. And I'm really excited about this one too. But I just sent you a brand new review for Goes West today that it's really being accepted well, especially because it's a little bit of a tangent to what I normally have done. But I'm getting compliments as a songwriter in this, which is always a very, very nice thing after you write all these songs that I've written in my life and get some some nice words about that. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. So let's talk a little bit more about your current CD that you have going on. So now, is this going to be in physical CD like you have in the past, along with some vinyl and digital? Or are you going strictly digital?
No, that's a good question, but I have the CDs. Been selling them for a couple of months, and they're digitally. You can probably find them anywhere that you download digital music. Neal Smith, Killsmith Goes West, but the actual physical CD, which you have the album cover for, I believe, that's sold on my website, nealsmithrocks.com. Right. And that's about the only place right now that you can find. It's been available a couple of other places, but they've sold out. So right now, the last place that it's available is on my website. And we always have autographed copies when I sell them directly.
Yeah, that's nice that you do that, to
sign off. The fans like it, and it's it's that personal touch. And the fans that are still interested in the original band and the original members, they appreciate that. Almost from drumsticks to the CDs, the photographs, everything is always 100% autographed.
Right. Like what on your nealsmithrock.com, you have one of my favorite pictures of you that I also have in a frame down in my music room, which is you on top of the baby Rolls Royce.
Oh, yeah. That's not a baby. That's a full-grown one.
Oh, that's a full-grown? Okay. I thought it was the baby Rolls.
Yeah. No. Okay. That's a big Cloud 2. And I don't know how many tons it weighed, but it didn't get very good gas mileage. That's all I know, but I didn't care.
No.
But no, that's a great shot. Bob Gruen,
yeah, it is.
The great Bob Gruen took those shots of the Rolls, and I always wanted a shot like that, was straddling the that great grill on the Rolls Royce.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the songs on your new disc. So, what's the first song on your new one?
Well, the first song is actually a ballad, which is a little unusual. It's called Shaughnessy Highway. And this is one of these songs that, from the time I thought about it, it was in the middle of the night. I don't know if it was a dream or just came into my head. It went into the recording exactly like I heard it, exact arrangement and the exact lyrics. Now, this is another sort of an Alice Cooper, from our standpoint, there's nothing that's taboo to write about. And I've always felt, obviously, in rock and roll, obviously, especially the original Alice Cooper group, death and tragedy are always a part of the music. Right. A lot of bands have done that. But I wanted to turn it around. This is actually a tribute. I don't think it's ever been done before. A tribute to all the musicians that were lost on the road and never came home.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
And starting with actually go all the way back to Glenn Miller. I mean, he wasn't a rock and roller, but he was in the swing era. And, his plane crashed during World War II when he was playing out for the troops, and they never found him. Still to this day, they have no clue what happened to him. Wow. So people like him, but and even, Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper, when their plane went down in the 50s, and there were just a lot of Leonard Skinner. I mean, there's just so many people, and I wanted to put a personal touch on it and have it about the wife of one of these musicians, and he perishes in a tragic plane crash, and she never, ever forgets him. Every day at home, she plays his music and loves him. And if you drive up to their house anytime during the day, you'll always hear his music being played. And that kind of love, attachment, bond that music has with people and couples, I don't think a lot of people understand how strong that is.
Oh, sure.
And how much that can keep. She never ends up with anybody ever again. She just keeps them in her heart, and that's what the song's about. And Shaughnessy Highway is the directions. The chorus is actually giving directions to her house where she lives, and it's a little bit different take on it, but it's a very moving ballad, and it came out exactly like I was hoping to. And like I said, it's a little strange to start off an album with it, but because of this album, the kind of music that it is, I thought it was a strong piece, and it makes a statement that no one's ever tried to do before.
Yes, a very touching song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So,
on the lighter side, we go to the second song, which is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tequila, Tamales, and a Woman.
Yeah.
And
that's very interesting.
Yeah, that was actually one of the first songs that I wrote on it. But you know, I'm a big, not only but the Alice Cooper group, you know, we love the classic movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, the horror movies, but also a lot of the spaghetti westerns and the old time westerns. And because always a great, well, that's where the killer idea came from, for goodness sakes. I mean, the whole thing with the gallows and taking gallows and hanging. I mean, that's right from Saturday afternoon matinee at the Western movies. And I had the idea of that this guy, you know, he's in, this is over 150 years ago in old Arizona, before, when it was still a territory. And he's playing cards with this guy named Mexican Joe, and Joe pulls an ace out of his sleeve, and the guy that's telling the story tells him he cheated. And Joe stands up, pulls his gun, but the guy telling the story is one of the fastest guns around and shoots him and kills him. And before he even could touch his gun, he's dead. So he pleads self-defense, but the judge, of course, being a hanging judge, sentences him to be hung in the morning. And he said, "Do you have any last requests?" And he said, "Yes, I want tequila, tamales, and a woman." That was his last request. So he goes to the gallows, a very happy man the next morning, even though he's being executed and hung. And that's what, you know, it's right out of a, you know, Hang 'em High, Clint Eastwood movie.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a theme that's done, but again, I don't think anybody's really, you know, country and Western singers these days, if it's a gray area, they stay away from it. They, you know, they're very safe, and that's cool. That's cool. I still like to go back to the, you know, Johnny Horton, Frankie Lane, you know, the guys that told us, Jimmy Dean, told the stories in their songs back in the 50s and 60s. You know, they were great storytellers, and that was one of the compliments on the new review that I got, that my songs were great storytelling songs, and that's what I really tried to do. But not everybody, you know, really understands it or listens to it that closely. But I try to always make a little, in my mind, like a little movie-ette of what I'm writing about, a little story. So that was a tragic ending, but a good song.
That's great. Okay, well, we're going to take a listen to Neal's track, Tequila, Tamales, and a Woman, and we'll be right back on Music 101.
I was playing cards and no gallows. self-defense, but the hanging judge disagreed. Now I get one last request before that hangman puts a rope around my neck as I'm heading through heaven's door. I shouldn't have pulled my gun when Joe pulled that ace. He died with a look of fear. I'll be walking up the gallows at sunrise with a smile on my face. I shouldn't have pulled my gun. Tequila, tamales, and a woman. That's my dying request. Tequila, tamales, and a woman. Before they put my wicked body to rest. Red hot tamales. Tequila with the worm in the bottle. A sexy senorita that knows just how to please you. Boom, 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 that's all I want when the end is near. Tequila, tamales, and a woman. That's my dying request. Tequila, tamales, and a woman. Before they put my wicked body to rest. Red hot tamales. Tequila with the worm in the bottle. A simple senorita that knows just how to please you. Boom, 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 that's all I want.
Okay, we're back on Music 101. I'm talking with legendary drummer and Hall of Famer Neal Smith from the original Alice Cooper group. And we're speaking about his latest in his Killsmith series, Go West.
Yeah. Killsmith Goes West, where I usually go during the wintertime myself. That was part of the inspiration to it as well, because there's so much history around the Southwest in Arizona. And that's what, another great inspiration, like we just talked about, Tequila, Tamales, and a Woman.
Yes. So next up is your third song.
Well, this is Big Wheels Rolling West. It's a little bit, up tempo. It's getting a lot
Sort
of
like a country flair, a little bit like.
Yeah, it's a mover. I mean, it's a toe tapper. And once it starts, and this is the percussion side of me, to always have that real up tempo kind of rolling, song. And this one is about a truck driver who drives an 18 wheel rig, and his dream one day is to move west, to move out west. And the song talks about the different reasons he wants to do that, and the truck that he has is the vehicle that's going to eventually, one of these days, get him there. And some amazing guitar work, and also I think about 4 of the songs on Goes West. Arlen Roth, classic, legendary country player, who was just inducted into the New York Country Hall of Fame last week. And luckily on on my next CD, he's played a couple of songs on that too. He's an amazing guitar player. He did a very, very cool job on Big Wheels Rolling West, and I'm get a lot of positive response to that guitar play. I love guitar. I don't play lead guitar, but I bring some of the best players in to play tracks on my albums, and to me, it's just like icing on the cake. And Arlen is certainly one of the best at what he does.
Very good. So then, who actually did you have on your current album?
Well, most of the tracks is Rick Tedesco on guitar, me on drums, and Rick plays bass. A song like Tequila, Tamales, and a Woman, I sent that down to Peter Catucci, who still works with us a lot. And he did the first two Killsmith albums with me. He plays bass, and we recorded them in his studio. And he plays bass on a couple of songs on this album. But Rick Tedesco is across the board, can play anything. So he plays bass. We work on the bass parts. So that pretty much is the basic song with guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, drums, and the lead vocal. And then when we bring in a guitarist, and Rick Tedesco for the most part plays all the lead guitar work on the greater percentage of songs. So between Rick and myself, we lay the bed tracks down to the songs. And we had another great compliment. When Arlen Roth was working on some of the songs on my next album, he said, it's amazing that two people putting down the tracks that you guys do, it sounds like a live band in the studio playing these songs live. Now that's a big compliment, because I don't like real cut and dry music. I like a lot of spark in the music. Right. And that's what I thought. And that's the feel and the groove of the music. My whole life was live. So if I can reproduce that live feel in the studio, that's great. Especially with two people, it's almost impossible. But when you have
a full sound too, you have a very full sound.
No, it is a full sound, but we build as we go, and we don't overproduce it. But the energy and the feel is really key. So it's really just Rick and myself, and then we bring out if we need a keyboard player, we bring in a keyboard player. If we need a fiddle player, we had Gary Ollier, who came in to play fiddle on about 3 of the 4 of the Goes West songs too. He was amazing. We just sent the tracks to him, gave him some couple of thoughts, and came back. And when you hear the album, you think this guy was part of the band. I mean, he's fantastic. So it's really just Rick and I, and then we bring in a few great studio musicians to put the icing on the cake.
No, that's good, because they obviously get you, you know what I mean? Yeah. And exactly what you want, Yeah.
Very true.
So next up.
What do we have there? I'm looking at the list here, so we have it correct. Coffee, Beer, and Borrowed Time is after Big Wheels Rolling West. And that is more of a bit of a storytelling song. And that's one that Gary plays on. And he's amazing on it. I think Rick did lead guitar on this one. And when I went through a personal story, a divorce in the early 80s, and that's how long this song has been around, but when would I ever put a song like this on an album? Never. And that's what I said, when I started putting this album together and putting this next album together, and these songs were heading in that direction. So I said, I take Coffee, Beer, and Borrowed Time, and I can fit it in there. And then everything started to gel until I had the 10 songs. But this one really is the oldest song. It's been around that long. And it was really about, what I went through. I mean, that's the spark of the idea. The things I write about aren't necessarily what happened, because obviously there's artistic liberty as a lyricist. So, but that's where that came from. And it's it's like relationships are always very difficult. It's a loss, whether it's a divorce or a death or whatever. It's a loss, and there's emotions there, and it's been written about a million times. This is something that is very common, but it was just my spin on it. And at the end of it, it actually turns into a party, because then all of a sudden I realize there's freedom there. So
right.
That's the positive side of it. As a matter of fact, there's some great keyboard in that song too. And
did you put the keyboard in that?
Yeah, Pete Hickey, who has done a lot of the Killsmith keyboard, he's from Connecticut here, and he did I mean, it sounds like a solo from the 1890s or something. I mean, it's so cool at the very end of the song. I wanted to mention that and tip my hat to him too.
Nice,
Petey boy.
Okay, so halfway through number 5.
Yeah, Pull It Out Smokin' is the next song, and this is a song that probably has been around at least 20 years, and another one that just didn't really fit on. It's more of a rocker. It's back to my basic.
It's very much rocker.
Yeah, back to a basic rock song, but because it's Pull It Out Smokin', and there is actually a story to this. By the time, I mean, this is a big year. 2023 is a big year for the Alice Cooper Group. It was 50 years ago this year. The Billion Dollar
Babies, right?
Went to #1 in the world. So Alice didn't have one after that. Nobody else did, but we did as a group. And it's, I mean, unfortunately, we lost Glenn, but you look at it, it's, at least 4 of us are still around to celebrate that iconic event in our music history. And but
I have to say about that, I think Billion Dollar Babies is probably my favorite song. Above second to that would be Love It to Death, but Billion Dollar Babies is because of your drum intro is the best.
Well, that's kind of my signature song.
Yes, it is.
And it was one that drum part wasn't there. I added it while we were writing the song.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, and because otherwise it was pretty straight ahead, and then I had the idea to do that. But at any rate, for the Billion Dollar Baby tour, as big as the band was in 1973, and as much as our fans loved us, it's not talked about too much anymore. But there were a lot of people that didn't dislike us; they hated the Alice Cooper Group, and we were banned in a lot of cities. And so we had a personal bodyguard on the Billion Dollar Baby tour. He was an armed ex-military guy that traveled with us, and God forbid anybody tried to, harm any of us. He was right there to help protect us. And I had several conversations with him. He's obviously on the tour. He's one of the people with us. And because I was raised on guns and weapons when I was a kid and hunted in the Midwest. And know a lot about gun safety and what have you. And I talked to him. I said, in a situation where there would be a threat to anybody in the band, and he was there, I said, how do you make that decision whether to use violent force or not? And he said there was just one rule. And what he was doing, he says, when you pull it out smoking. And I never, ever forgot that, because he said, if you don't, somebody else will. I get chills thinking about it now, because, there's a lot of part of what our band went through that people just have no clue. And, I know we've all written books, and, Alice did his thing, and it was great. And, he kept the legacy going. But, I mean, it was really Vince. It was him doing his interpretation, and that's wonderful. And he's kept the music alive for all these years, and he's like the Energizer Bunny. It's fantastic. But back then there was a lot of people. We get hate mail. There was actually a couple of bomb threats when we played some places. Wow. So at any rate, that term "pull it out smoking," I wrote like a Western from a Western movie, and I took again, whether it's John Wayne or Clint Eastwood or any of the big Western stars from back in the day, it could have been "Pull It Out Smoking," could have been in any of those movies. And we have a video of it.
Exactly. And just as you're going to say that, I was just getting ready to say, we're going to take a listen and a look at "Pulling Out Smoking," and we'll be right back with Neal Smith.
smell the trouble, and you got to fight. Just pull it out smoking, and you'll unload tonight. Don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. I said don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. You're sweating bullets, seeing red, feel like a mad dog that's out of his head. Got your finger on the trigger, aiming right for the heart. Empty your barrel, and watch the fire start. Don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. I said don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. I'm not joking, you better pull it out smoking. Said don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. Roulette wheel is spinning, the dice are gonna roll. Luck is a lady with a soul. You got them dancing on thin air with their necks in a noose, feeling mean and nasty like an outlaw on the loose. Are gonna roll, feeling mean and nasty, cause the devil's got my soul. Yeah, they'll always think twice when they're looking down the board. That hard sex god, that Colt 44. Unless you pull it out smoking. Don't pull it out unless you pull it out smoking. I'm not joking. You better pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it out smoking. You better watch out now. Pull it out smoking. Pull it, pull it, pull it out smoking.
We're back with Neal Smith. We just listened to Pull Out Smokin'. It was a rockin' smoking song. What do we got next, Neal?
Well, the next one is going back to the little on the ballad side, which an album like this gives me liberty to, do a couple of, balladish songs. And Shaughnessy Highway was certainly one. And Sunsets of Gold is another one that the melody in the arrangement, the fiddle solo, again, Gary played an amazing solo in Sunsets of Gold. It's about a relationship, two people that meet young in life, and they go through all their whole life together. And, I've always heard, to the golden sunset, but I want to do a little twist. So it's Sunsets of Gold. So you just, and where I live in the winter in Arizona is near the Superstition Mountains. Now, there's not too many mountains that have more legends than the Superstition Mountains. And I mentioned that I don't mention the superstitions intentionally in it. As a matter of fact, the fold-out picture in the of the CD is a picture of the Superstition Mountains that I took a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm just so impressed by the legends. I go there a lot while I'm out there, and people, they actually did mine a little bit of gold there back in the 1800s. Not a lot. They didn't find a lot there, but they did find some. But anyway, so I employ that in the lyrics of the Sunsets of Gold. So it's you could say it's a pretty melancholy, sappy ballad, but I was real happy with not only the way it turned out, but the violin playing that was on it was just superb. The fiddle playing, and Gary did an amazing job. And anyway, if you even like fiddle at all in country music, this is a great song.
Okay. Well, we're actually going to take a listen again to another one of Neal's songs. His beautiful ballad, Sunsets of Gold.
I'll put my lips on you. I'll put my lips on you. Honey, I would do anything you want me to do. The river runs cold, my blood runs. We're not together. I miss you a lot. The winter is lonely, lonely and long. Right here beside me is where you belong. Where you belong. Sunsets of gold, sunsets of gold, sunsets of gold. Sure as the mountains, rich legends are told. We'll grow together till our sunsets of gold. Girl.
Okay, we're back on Music 101 here with legendary, amazing drummer extraordinaire, the one and only Neal Smith.
Oh, shucks, Alex. I'm going to blush.
That's okay. I know you a long time, so I guess I get the okay to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything.
Yeah.
Well, the next song coming up is another one of my crazy interpretations of taking a historic character and putting that person into another time period. And because we're in the West, this time I chose Jesus. And this song is If Jesus Was a Gunfighter. So, and it's not that far-fetched, because if you look online, there's some artwork. I've never asked for it or anything, but there was some artwork where you do see Jesus with firearms. I find that interesting, but
Wow.
but that's after I did research, after the song was written. But this is actually my tribute to Dusty Hill, the ZZ Top, because I really love ZZ Top. I mean, they, our last American tour, the holiday tour of 1973, the last time that we did a tour in the States, and ZZ Top opened every show of that tour. And any nights I went out there to watch them play. I really like that band a lot, and follow them through their whole career, and still do. And it's unfortunate when Dusty passed away a few years ago. But this is just inside of me. It's dedicated because it has that kind of a
straight out
bluesy rock vibe to it, and it sort of follows the storyline of Jesus in the manger and being born, and but in this case, he grows up to be a lawman like Wyatt Earp. So that's where the little difference in history comes. But unlike the Lone Ranger has silver bullets. Jesus have golden bullets. And because he's Jesus, he's never, and nor would he ever kill anybody, but he's the best shot ever born. So he always shoots the gun out of the outlaw's hand. He wounds them, but he never, ever kills them. But so that's how, I mean, he's like a superhero.
Yeah.
And he's single-handedly tames the Wild West, and brings in the robbers and the gangsters and the train robbers and everything. So and again, it takes place in like the late 1800s in the Wild West Arizona territories.
Very cool. So that's number 7.
Yep.
Okay.
What do we have for number 8? Jukebox Rose. And my significant other, Rose, which you've met before.
Yes.
You met her. When she was a kid, she was a big fan of 45 records. And she was, back in the day when we're all carrying little boxes, played records 150 years ago. And her maiden name is Jukness. She's from Finland. And her friends called her, in Jukness, the closer they can get to it, because kids always make up names for other kids, they called her Jukebox Rose, because it was like Jukness. So I always thought that was a clever name.
That is, yeah.
And so I finally, with this group of songs, I thought, take a kind of a Thelma and Louise character and call her Jukebox Rose. And that's what the song's about, and that she's pretty badass. She's pretty badass with a pistol also. And she goes to Mexico, and somebody crosses her, touches her in the wrong place, and she shoots him. So there's there's a definite Thelma and Louise in it, and it came out great. And there's again some great playing on this song too.
That's a great concept. All right.
The ladies can be badass sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
the badass hombre boys, that's for sure.
That's right.
Now, Evil Wind is the next one, second to last song, And this is another song that's kind of like out of an old, like High Plains Drifter, like an old Western. And it's just that lonesome person in the prairie. Is he mirage? Is he a real person? But actually, it's also equal to that feeling when a man leaves home. He's a young boy. He has to go. So it's a mixture between this ghost or that sense of somebody just one day just leaves home to find out what life's all about, and find adventures in life. It's that adventure, and I, quote unquote, call that the evil wind. It takes people to do their even when the five of us in the group, we left home. We didn't know what was going to happen. Right. And we went on this incredible journey and ended up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So what was it that got us to leave when we did? Nobody turned around and went back. I mean, we left and that was it. And so it's sort of it's not a tribute, it's just a statement that does happen. And sometimes and anything can happen when that occurs, obviously. So somebody can find immense success. They can become an outlaw. They become a politician. They become a billionaire. You never know. So that's sort of symbolic. That evil wind is sort of symbolic to that lonesome soul out there on the prairie, doing their own thing.
Right. That's good. I mean, all your songs, as you're speaking about them, they all have a story, which is really cool, because a lot of music is not like that.
Well, that's why like I said, I was inspired by the really, really, storytellers of back in the day. And that every song, tells a story, and then you can, if you really get into it, you can picture it and visualize, what that story is. And I think that it adds a dimension that, you can just come up with a nice hook and sing some fun lyrics and things like that. But if I take the time to write a song and I'm lucky enough to come up with the lyrics that I want for it, I still think, Alice is like kind of my, the person I see the lyrics he's written over the years. And some of them still to this day, even back on the $1 Billion Baby album, still blow me away how good they were. And so that's kind of my watermark for having something unique, something different, it's different, but still, can tell a story in a way it's never really been told before.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you say, is that the last one?
Well, the next was
one more.
Tattooed Cowgirl. So I have to have sex in here somewhere. So, I have a hot tattooed cowgirl that's she's again pretty independent badass, and it just she could be a rodeo queen, she could be anything she wants to be, and she's an all-around the real deal Western cowgirl. And this story is sort of a tribute to those women, and that they won't take no for an answer ever. And that could even be inspired by characters on Yellowstone these days, because they're finally getting some really badass characters that the ladies get to play, which I always find fantastic. It's just another dimension, and I still think some of the most evil characters that probably have never even been discovered that they're killers are women. They just
it's quite possible.
They're under that cloak of like, I'm just a fair woman. Meanwhile, you don't know how many bodies are out there. Because of that woman. So I think there's that little element of mystery that's still a fascination that I like to delve into once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, being that it's Halloween time, there's a lot of that going on. I've been seeing a lot of movies like that lately.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So now, all right. So that's your whole new album.
Yep.
Now, you said that how far into this next one are you?
I have everything written and recorded. I'm mixing it.
Okay, so like you could be ready to go.
Yeah,
How soon will you wait before you put that out?
I have everything's pretty much mixed. I may have a title song, that one more song I want to put on it. Hard in a Rock Place, the actual song. I'm working on that right now. So
Okay.
I would imagine, hopefully, if I can get this thing recorded, maybe sometime in the spring of 2024, get it out there. But I don't put, I have my own label, Kachina Music, and I don't put any pressure on myself. And right now I'm very excited about the Goes West album. And
well, luckily you're the boss, so you don't have to worry about it.
yeah, that's true. But the Goes West album is actually a split off the Hard in a Rock Place, because it just formed its own entity. And so I took the remaining song, and I think probably have about 10 or 11 songs on the new album too. So it's a lot of good stuff. And some of them have been recorded for several years now. And
Wow.
and all the time goes by, the studio gets better and better and better that we work in. And I'm very, very excited.
So where are you? Do you have a home studio, or are you?
No, Rick Tedesco, he has a Guitar Hanger studio as well as his guitar store in here in Connecticut, in the Danbury area. And he has his studio is in his home, but it's a full-blown studio. It's beautiful. And we have as much time as we need to work it. He's great. I listen to everything. He's actually the technician. I listen to everything, and if I hear something or a direction, we go there. I'm producing it, but it's really a good collaboration, because our chemistry together is very, very good, and we try to get together once a week because of our schedules, and that's okay, because it always keeps it fresh. It's never stale, never boring. It's always exciting. And then we get people like Arlen Roth and Gary Ollier to come in and do these great sessions with us. And Ian Hunter's a great friend of mine, and he's a good friend of Rick Tedesco's. And he was at the last session when Arlen Roth came in to do some tracks for the Hard in a Rock Place CD. So we always have a good time, good people together, and it's nice, peaceful, quiet, and productive. The main word, and energy.
Good. So, how long does it take you from the time that you have the thought until the time it is produced?
It can be anywhere from a month to to 6 months. Depends on how comfortable I am, because I have to have a song pretty much prepared to take into Rick for him so we can put down I have a studio in my home. I put tracks down that we can start from. But sometimes I just take the idea to Rick and we start it right there in the studio. So it depends on how far along it is when I'm ready to present it to him. And once it gets going, we can get it done pretty rapidly. Actually, we spend more time mixing, because I always want,
right, so you get it perfect.
Yeah, until you get it perfect. And believe me, when I listen to something, I can listen to it 100 times and still change it. So I just want it to be. I know our parameters, what we have to work with, and like I say, the studio gets better and better all the time, and I get more and more impressed, which is fun to actually make the quality better and better. And for what we did, the Goes West album, I think sounds fantastic. And and I also have a great person that masters here in Connecticut too. And so I have the combination of all the pieces of the puzzle. All I have to do is come up with the songs to put together.
That's great. So now, for any of the fans that would like to get any of your albums, I did ask you this before. Is this going to be available on vinyl?
At this point, I don't have anything available on vinyl.
Okay, all right.
I'm still keeping it to downloads and CDs, but Neal Smith Rocks, and don't forget spell my name, Neal.
That's right, Neal.
Yeah, nealsmithrocks.com, and that has all of my connections to Facebook and all the other social media things, and and you can order them right there on in my site, and very, very, very simple. And like I said, you get the CDs are all the CD right here. I don't know if you can see it very well.
There you go.
Yeah, they're all autographed, and you get a free sticker with it too, Killsmith sticker, which is kind of cool. And it's a
and they can buy merch on your website too. Like they can get a pair of drumsticks, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to mention that I do have the 50th anniversary $1 Billion Baby #1 album, Drumsticks, available.
That's right.
Too. Yeah, and they've been selling pretty good. And the hardcore collector, and they came out beautifully. I mean, I think I've sold more than I've actually played, but they came out beautiful, and the fans love them, and they won't be around forever because next year, we'll see what happens. But they are available. Photographs and the CDs, all my CDs are available there.
Okay, that's great. Well, Neal, it was great talking to you. I was glad to catch up.
Yeah, finally. And, yes, good talking to you too.
Yeah, it's great seeing you again. So we're going to look forward to your new one coming out, which will be coming out in the spring. And I'm sure maybe we'll be talking between now and then. And then we'll get you back on again for that.
Sounds terrific. Thank you, Alexxis.
All right. It was great seeing you. Thanks, Neal. Have a great night.
Right. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And international scene with news, reviews, and interviews. Get more notes per measure at Steel Notes Magazine.
You're listening to Music 101 with your host, Alexxis Steele. Sponsored by Steel Notes Magazine. You can find them at the web, folks, at www.steelnotesmagazine.com.